"You're not part of this family anymore," my mom whispered. Then, she closed the door. Not slammed, not locked, just closed. Like I was a draft she finally sealed out. I stood there on the porch, holding the faded photo I had found tucked behind the fireplace, heart pounding like a door someone else refused to open. It was a photo from our 5th birthday party, me and my twin sister Ellie in matching lilac dresses. Except I wasn't in it, just Ellie, just the cake, just the day. No me. Forget to subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching from. I had asked Mom. Just one question. Why am I not in any of the family albums before I turned 6? She stared at me like I'd spoken in a foreign tongue, and then she said it, the sentence that cracked the floor of my entire childhood. "You're not part of this family anymore," and shut the door like she'd shut a lifetime. I used to think our house had a heartbeat. The grandfather clock in the hallway ticked in slow, predictable rhythms, like the calm breath of something ancient and comforting. The wallpaper had that golden sheen you only see in old homes, warm in the morning light, a little sad by sunset. Growing up, I always told myself we were normal. Ellie and I would race down the stairs, toast half burnt and dripping with jam. Mom humming old Fleetwood Mac songs, Dad groaning about traffic. The usual. But normal is a story you tell yourself when the silence gets too loud. Even as a child, I sensed it. That unspoken space between us. The way Mom would brush Ellie's hair with slow, gentle hands, but rush through mine like she was untangling a mess. The way she folded Ellie's laundry with lavender-scented paper but tossed mine in a pile. I told myself I was imagining it. Maybe I was just sensitive. Maybe it was twins. Maybe Mom's just had a favorite without meaning to. "Ellie, though," she noticed. "You overthink everything," she'd say, giggling, draped across her bed with a magazine. "You always have. Chill." I did try. I studied harder. I helped Mom more. I became a school teacher, just like she'd always said she was proud of me for. Still, at family dinners, when Ellie spoke, everyone leaned in. When I spoke, forks clinked. Dad wasn't much better. Always a little distant, always working late. His approval was like winter sunlight, barely warm enough to feel, and gone before you could sit with it. But it was Mom who held the family together. And it was Mom I wanted to understand me. That day, the day of the photo, I had just come home for a long weekend. Ellie was in the city, working her PR job and posting curated happiness on Instagram. I was helping clean out the den when I found it. A stack of old photo albums, hidden behind a loose board near the fireplace. I didn't expect much, but something in me, a chill, a breath held, told me to look. The first album was full of Ellie. A chubby toddler with curls and cake on her cheeks, her first steps, her first bike, no me. The second album, Ellie again. A 5th birthday party, balloons, the backyard, that lilac dress, still no me. I turned page after page, my fingers trembling. Not a single photo of me before I turned 6. Not one. When I finally asked Mom, carefully, calmly, not accusing, just confused, her face went completely blank, like I had asked her who she was. Then her mouth moved like she was chewing glass. "You're not part of this family anymore." And then, the door. The click was so soft, but it was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. I stood on the porch for what felt like forever. The late autumn wind picked at my sleeves, leaves gathering like silent witnesses around my feet. The photo album lay, heavy in my hands, its pages fraying, the edges softened by years of hands that never searched for me in them. My breath came shallow, like I'd forgotten how to inhale without shaking. It wasn't just one missing photo. It was all of them. No, baby photos, no first steps, no early birthdays. According to our family memories, I simply didn't exist before age 6. I went back to my car, numbly opened the door, and sat in silence. I pulled out my phone, flipped through my photos, just to remind myself I was real. A life built with deliberate steps, my classroom, my cat, a selfie with Ellie from our 24th birthday, both of us laughing, wine-blurred and pink with nostalgia. But none of it made sense now. I texted Ellie. Me. Hey, do you remember if we had a joint 5th birthday party? Ellie. Of course, LOL, backyard, clown balloon artist. You cried because the cake had too much frosting. I stared at the screen. Me. Do you have a photo of that? Typing. Then, Ellie. Ugh, I think so. Why? A pause. Then another message. Ellie. Wait, I just looked. You're not in it? Me. What do you mean? No reply. I called her. She picked up on the 3rd ring. Her voice was uncertain. Okay, weird question. Where were you during that birthday? Because I swear I remember you crying. But in the photo, it's just me and the cake and that clown guy. I even looked through the other ones. You're just not there. I swallowed hard. Ellie, do you remember me at all before we started school? A long pause. Then, I don't know. Isn't that just memory stuff? We were kids. Maybe we forgot? Her voice cracked near the end, like she was trying to convince herself too. I ended the call quickly. I could hear the panic bleeding in. I needed answers. I drove to the town library. The local archive section was barely lit. Dusty folders, yearbooks, microfilm. I pulled the yearbook from my supposed kindergarten year Ellie, clear as day, smiling. Pigtails. Ellie Jennings, Miss Crawford's class. No me. Next yearbook, 1st grade. There I was, a different last name. Leah Moore, Miss Fitzgerald's class. My heart dropped. Jennings versus Moore. Different schools, different names, 1 year apart. How could that be? I sat back in the chair, cold spreading from my fingertips into my chest. My name, my real name, was Leah Moore. And somehow, I had become Leah Jennings, Ellie's twin. Except maybe, I wasn't. I checked the school registration records, found the original addresses. Moore. Foster care. Everything inside me sank like wet ash. I wasn't missing from the photos. I was never supposed to be in them. The night I found the yearbook records, I didn't go home. I couldn't. I drove aimlessly, circling the same streets that raised me, streets that suddenly felt like strangers. I parked by the old elementary school playground, rusted swings swaying in the wind, and stared at the place where I thought my life began. The truth was sinking in like slow poison. I might have never been their daughter. Not really. Maybe I was a story they borrowed to fill an empty page. I remember the first time I felt it, that feeling of being misplaced. It was during 3rd grade. We had family day at school, where parents came to watch us perform little plays and songs. I'd worked hard on mine, memorizing every line. When I stepped on stage, I searched for Mom's face in the crowd. She was there, but her eyes weren't on me. They were on Ellie, who was standing 2 kids over, dressed like a ladybug, waving shyly. Mom's smile was warm and glowing for Ellie, but when her gaze slid to me, it cooled, like the sun, ducking behind a cloud. I remember asking her later that day if I'd done well. Her response, "Ellie was wonderful. You were fine. Not great, not, I'm proud of you. Just fine. Like I was always just fine. A placeholder in my own life." As we grew, the divide widened. Ellie was the golden child, the one who inherited Mom's charm, Dad's smarts, the one neighbors fawned over. I was the quiet shadow trailing behind her. The one Mom often forgot to include in family introductions. This is Ellie, and oh, that's Leah, as if my name were an afterthought. There were smaller wounds too, ones I buried so deep I didn't even know they bled anymore. The Christmas when Ellie got the doll she'd begged for all year while I got socks. The summer Dad taught Ellie how to ride a bike and told me to wait my turn until the light was gone. The birthdays where Mom baked Ellie's favorite cake while forgetting mine. I used to think I was ungrateful. That love was uneven, and I just had to deal with it. That maybe my personality, too quiet, too observant, was the problem. But now, looking back, I see it wasn't uneven. It was deliberate. I was other, even then. I think Ellie knew on some level too, though she never said it. Once, when we were 12, we fought over something trivial, her borrowing my sweater without asking. She shouted, "You're not even really like us." I remember freezing. "What does that mean?" I asked. Her face went pale and she muttered, "Nothing. Forget it." I didn't forget. I never forgot. And now I couldn't stop replaying every tiny clue I'd missed. Why I didn't look like either of them. Why family friends would occasionally comment, "You must take after someone far back in the family tree." Why Mom's smile sometimes faltered when I called her Mom. But if I wasn't their daughter, why me? Why take me in? And why hide it so brutally that they'd rather erase my past than admit the truth? That night, I slept in my car. My phone buzzed with messages from Ellie. Ellie. "Mom's freaking out. What did you say to her?" Ellie. "Leah, please call me. I don't know what's going on." Ellie. "This isn't funny." I couldn't bring myself to answer. I was staring at the yearbook photo of a girl with my face, but a different name. Leah Moore. The caption beneath her picture was like a ghost whispering from a past I didn't remember. The next morning, I returned to the library. I dug deeper into the town records, tracing that name. Foster records, adoption papers. But I couldn't access much. Just enough to see one line. Leah Moore placed in foster care at age 5 due to parental abandonment. Parental abandonment. The word sat like shards in my chest. That must have been when they found me. Or maybe when they took me. The Jennings name was scribbled onto official papers 6 months later. No photos, no celebration. Just paperwork. Was I Ellie's replacement for something they lost? A twin they never had? Or was I a secret? Someone they weren't proud of, but needed? I drove to their house again, but I didn't knock. Through the window, I saw Mom and Dad at the table. Ellie sitting between them, talking fast, waving her hands. They all looked tense, like they were guarding a secret that might burn through the walls if I came too close. I wasn't ready to face them yet. I needed the truth. The kind that couldn't be whispered away. The answers didn't come from my parents. They came from a stranger with my face. Her name was Marianne Fletcher. I found her through a message board for adoptees looking for their birth records. I'd posted under a pseudonym. Just a vague request. Searching for any information on Leah Moore, born May 13th, 1995, placed in foster care around 2000. 3 days later, I got a reply. I knew Leah Moore. I was her foster parent. She stayed with us for 8 months. Quiet, sweet girl, scared of the dark. Are you her? The message was signed M. Sir Fletcher. My breath caught. I typed back so fast my fingers stumbled. Yes, I think I am. Can we talk? We spoke on a call the next morning. Her voice was warm, tentative, full of pauses like she didn't want to break something fragile. I remember you clearly, she said. You came to us after your mother left, just disappeared. Social services said she might have been using. You barely spoke for the first few weeks, but you loved puzzles. You used to sit at the window, lining up the pieces over and over. Closed my eyes, and something inside me trembled. I did love puzzles, still do, but I never knew why. You were taken by a family shortly after, she continued. The Jennings. We were surprised. They hadn't gone through the usual adoption channels. Said they were friends of your biological family. Pulled some strings, I guess. You vanished from our records after that. Pulled some strings. No birthdays. No announcement. No court date celebration. I hung up the call and stared at my own reflection. In the mirror of a gas station bathroom, eyes bloodshot, lips trembling. Who takes in a child without telling the world? Who erases her past, writes her into their story like a stolen chapter? I drove straight to Ellie's apartment. I didn't call. I didn't knock. She answered in pajamas and shock. Leah? Her voice cracked. What are you doing here? I need you to tell me the truth, I said, stepping inside. Do you remember when I came to live with you? Her face paled. What are you talking about? Before first grade. I wasn't in your class. I wasn't even a Jennings. I was Leah Moore. I have proof. She backed up toward the kitchen counter. I thought you knew. I thought you always knew. I didn't think you'd find out like this. My heart sank. So it's true. Ellie sat down, buried her face in her hands. They told me you were my sister, that you'd gone through something hard, that I needed to be kind to you. But I remembered, before you came, there was a different energy. Something was missing. I think you replaced someone. What do you mean? She looked up, eyes glassy. I think Mom lost a baby, maybe even a twin. I think they brought you in to fix that hole. The world tilted. I wasn't their child. I was their patch, a stitched-in substitute to fill the silence of death, a ghost with warm skin. I waited until nightfall. There's something about returning to a childhood home when your sense of self has shattered. Every brick feels like a betrayal. Every flower bed, a lie. The porch light flickered as if it recognized me, but wasn't sure I belonged anymore. I didn't knock this time. I walked in. The door was unlocked. Mom was in the kitchen, folding dish towels with obsessive neatness. Dad sat silently at the table, hands clenched around a mug of coffee that had gone cold. Neither of them looked surprised to see me. Ellie was there too, pacing in the hallway. Her eyes were swollen. Whether from crying or guilt, I didn't ask. Mom was the first to speak. Her voice soft, rehearsed. Leah, or whatever you want to be called now. I flinched. So it's true. Silence. Then Dad. You were a good kid. You didn't ask questions. I stepped closer, voice shaking. I was 5. I didn't know how to ask. Mom sat down, finally looking at me, but not into me. Her eyes hovered near my face, like I was a puzzle she regretted ever opening. You came to us after the accident, she said. We lost her. Ellie's twin. Emma. It was a car crash. She was gone in seconds. Ellie turned her back, gripping the door frame. I thought I would die too, Mom whispered. Then a caseworker we knew called, said there was a girl. Quiet, sweet, no family, looked just like her. Like fate. So you adopted me, I said slowly. No, she said. We took you. The truth cracked the air. You forged it? Dad spoke now, his voice colder than I remembered. We gave you a life, a good one, better than what you had. But not love, I said. Not real love. You had a roof, food, school, safety, Mom snapped. Don't act like you were unloved just because we didn't parade you like a prize. Because I wasn't her, I whispered. Because, no matter how hard I tried, I could never be Emma. Mom stood up sharply. You were a second chance. A miracle. And then you started digging, asking things, threatening the illusion we'd built. We needed Emma back, not a girl who kept reminding us she wasn't her. My voice rose. So when I asked about the missing photos, when I came to you not with blame but with hurt, you shut the door, in my face. You cast me out like a trespasser. You were never supposed to remember, Dad said. We thought the past would fade. It didn't, I said. It screamed in the silences. It bled through the smiles. I felt it my whole life. The distance. The glass wall I kept pressing against. Mom's eyes welled up, but not with regret. Only fear. Of exposure. Of consequences. I could go to the police, I said. She stepped forward, her voice trembling. And what would that give you? Years of hearings? Paper trails no one wants reopened? You want to live as a news headline? You want everyone to know your story was fake? I paused. No, I said softly. I just want to stop pretending I was part of yours. And then I walked out. Not fast, not dramatic, just done. I drove to the ocean that night. The cold air bit at my cheeks as I stepped barefoot onto the sand, my shoes forgotten in the car. The sky above was a deep navy bruise, stars scattered like truths too distant to touch. The waves came in slow and steady, whispering things no one else could say to me. I stood there for a long time, the wind tangling in my hair, salt stinging my lips. I wasn't crying. I didn't have tears left. Just breath. Just silence. I thought of all the stories I'd told myself. That love was quiet, but real. That I was simply not enough. That if I tried harder, they'd pull me closer. But the truth is, I was never meant to belong. I was a living echo of someone else's grief. When dawn came, I drove to the county records office. I requested copies of my foster file, what little was available. I requested a lawyer's consultation, just to know my options. I wasn't chasing justice like a crusade. I just needed clarity, a boundary, a way to anchor my identity without their permission. The lawyer was kind, surprised but not shocked. He'd seen stranger things. There's no formal adoption paperwork, he said. Only a name change filed under guardianship due to special family circumstances. It's thin, almost purposefully vague. Could I sue? I asked. He tilted his head. Technically, yes, but statute of limitations, lack of physical harm, your age at the time, it would be difficult and messy. I nodded. I wasn't sure I wanted revenge. Not really. Just separation. Just the clean sound of the scissors when they cut a thread too tight. I blocked Mom and Dad's numbers. Changed my email. I didn't post anything public. No expose. No sob story. Some truths aren't for headlines. Some truths are sacred because they finally belong to you. Ellie reached out, of course. She texted me 5 days later. Ellie, I didn't know. I swear. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't respond. I wasn't angry. I just didn't have the words. Not yet. But I saved the message. Weeks passed. I moved into a small apartment on the other side of town. I decorated it with thrifted art, candles that smelled like comfort, and plants I wasn't sure I knew how to care for. I told my friends the story in pieces, one wine night at a time. They listened. They didn't try to fix it. Just sat with me, like soft punctuation, after years of broken grammar. I went back to teaching. My students were the first to make me feel real again. "Miss Jennings," one of them said, "you always remember our birthdays." "How?" And I smiled. "Because I do remember. I remember what it feels like to be erased, to look for yourself in photos and find air. So I give them what I never had, proof that they matter." In the end, I didn't expose anyone. I didn't destroy their carefully built fiction. But I did walk away. That was enough. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's just silence you choose for yourself. People often talk about family like it's blood, like it's something permanent, inescapable, a thread that can't be cut. But blood is just biology. It's what you inherit. Love is different. Love is what you choose, and what chooses you back. For years, I thought I was the broken one, too sensitive, too quiet, too needy. But really, I was just out of place, a puzzle piece forced into a picture it was never cut for. I used to wonder why my mother never looked at me the way she looked at Ellie. Now I know. You can't look at someone with love if all you see is who they're not. And still, I'm grateful. Not for the pain, not for the lies, but for the clarity, for the strength that comes when everything familiar burns down, and you realize you're still standing. I've started a new album, a real one. The first photo is me, alone, smiling at the ocean, wind in my hair, eyes tired but alive. The next few are of my classroom, my cat, a dinner night with friends, a coffee mug that says, "Rooted in reality." They're messy, imperfect, honest, and I'm in every single one. My name is Leah Moore. I'm not someone's replacement, not a shadow, not a secret. I'm the beginning of my own story now. And maybe that's the only family I ever truly needed.